I'm sure you've heard of preventing forest fires, such as the iconic Smokey the Bear encouraging activities to help the environment. But there's a way to help the environment by intentionally causing fires. This is called prescribed burns. They've evolved across the years, but as described by the National Park Service in 2020, they are controlled and mediated fires in certain conditions that help reduce chances of wildfire spread and promote certain environmental benefits. This controversial practice offers some downsides, but many more upsides that overall benefit wildlife and ourselves. Speaking of ourselves, prescribed fires are mainly used to protect major cities. They're used to protect the people, the infrastructure, and the building themselves. Anything that can be affected by ash, smoke, or the actual fire itself. So imagine you lived in a Californian city like this, where you have a wildfire approaching. Your governor would order an evacuation, but you and 10 million other people are trying to evacuate at the same time. There's also the probability of the fire causing damage to infrastructure, such as highways and major routes out of the city, electrical systems leading to streetlights turning off, and the smoke from the fire itself. These are all major safety concerns that prescribed fires use to try and outline these cities and put a buffer between the fire and the people. It's also meant to protect our major historical and landmark sites. These are very important for our future, and we want to keep them safe. Prescribed fires keep them from burning down and destruction. They also save us from ourselves. I'm sure you can remember last summer the gender reveal parties that ended very poorly, with major damage caused to all across the Pacific Northwest. 3 major forest fires that could have been prevented with prescribed fires. This is a diagram from the Association of Fire Ecology that essentially just describes the relationship between between prescribed fires and actual wildfires. That their increased use is conceptually used to outline that and a reduced chance of wildfires. Let's talk specifically about plants and what prescribed fires can do for them. Firstly, they are able to be used to get rid of invasive species and insects and diseases. Many of the indigenous plants have evolved stuff like thick bark and deep roots that allow them to survive these fires. So it's essentially cleaning out these forested areas of these potentially dangerous insects and diseases. As well, one of the major things that those against the idea of prescribed fires use is the idea that they cause major ecological damage because you're still burning a large amount of forest. But as described by the Department of Agriculture in 2000, really only 1% of acreage is burned, so you're losing a little for the benefit of that 99% other acreage to benefit. Along with this, you have the reproduction benefit of plants. These pine cones bloom in the heat of fires. So although, foliage is being destroyed, there is life being born from it. There's the benefit there. Switching to wildlife itself, prescribed fires that are helping clear down and prevent fires also result in creations of certain habitats that may not be in that area. There may be species that greatly need prairie or open fields that are normally covered in forest that are then cleared out by these prescribed fires. It's also important to understand the migration that it can cause and that these small fires prevent these major fires from wiping out species that can be boxed out by them. It's also important to look at the potential downsides. As was stated in the MDIP in 2019, there are certain fires that get out of hand. The 2000 Serrano Grande fire was caused by a prescribed fire that lost control. It ended up burning tens of thousands of acres and resulted in hundreds of houses being burned. Although these are professionals with top-of-the-line equipment, stuff can still go wrong when you're trying to control a natural disaster. Another thing is smoke. A lot of these prescribed fires are used to protect cities that are already producing lots of smog. Smoke from these fires that can be carried by winds that we can't accurately predict can cause major health risks for people. The Santa Barbara Independent outlined how smoke had been affecting them. Along with this, essentially it's difficult to weigh the pros and cons of something like prescribed fires when the risk and reward are both so high. But I hope this presentation has been able to make you understand everything prescribed fires can do for ourselves, plants, and wildlife.